All right, welcome. For today's routine, we've got 10 exercises. You're going to need two different kettlebells. There'll be single kettlebell exercises, but you'll need one lighter one for overhead work, and then you'll need something a little bit heavier for your squats, hinges, and rowing work. Other than that, we'll be using bodyweight exercises. So we're going to start today's routine with a get-up, sit-up. So it's the first portion of the get-up. We'll start by lying on your back. If you're going to have the bell on the right side, that means your right foot will be nice and firm to the ground. That means your left leg is out to the side. So what we're going to do is make sure your wrist is nice and straight like always. Make sure the bell is locked out, our lat's engaged. And then we're going to roll onto the lat and to the side of the body, okay, opposite of the kettlebell. So we're using this heel on the same side that the kettlebell is on to initiate that roll. From there, you want to position your palm, in this case it's your left arm, about 45 degrees off the shoulder, but ultimately somewhere where it feels comfortable that you can engage your back and lat muscles and push up into a nice tall seated position. So from there, we want to return to the ground nice and slow and controlled. You'll go to your forearm and elbow, and then as slowly as you can, you want to pull yourself back down. So you're going to use support from this right heel, as well as tension, a big diagonal tension from the lat all the way until you return back to the ground. So get up, sit up, nice and slow and controlled in your return back to your lying position. So we'll work that on both sides. Safest way is to switch around the top of your head. Make sure your wrist is nice and straight, heels firmly pushed into the ground. We roll onto the lat and then press the palm and elbow into the ground and sit up. So we go a little bit faster on the get up, a lot slower and more controlled, and grind back to the starting position. So get up, sit up is your first exercise. Second exercise, you want to get a heavier kettlebell. Ultimately, it's going to be, you're going to know what's heavy, but it's going to be a hinge and then a squat. So we have a two-handed clean, which is your hinging pattern. So the bell is going to start right in between your feet. Hips are back. You want to stand up nice and quick, and then regrip either on the horns of the kettlebell or a little bit lower onto the ball of the kettlebell. From here, we want to squeeze nice and tight with the forearms, keep the bell right at chest level, and then we're going to go into a squat. So stay nice and tall. Do your best to get your hips below your knees. Improve a little bit of mobility there. Let go of the horns or the handle. Regrip on the side and go back into your hinge. So two-handed clean, squat with it, stand up out of it, and then re-clean on each one. So our hinge pattern, our squat pattern. After that, we're going to follow it with a bodyweight exercise. You can make these a little more difficult or challenging if you want to balance on the kettlebell. If you do that, line the meaty part of your thumbs up on the handle, and just make sure that your shoulders line up directly over the handle, over the palms. Make sure your hips stay below your shoulders. So if you are going to use your kettlebell, you start to lift up, the kettlebell becomes imbalanced, and then you need a visit to the dentist. So if you don't feel comfortable on the bell, you don't need to do it. Just make your triangle with your hands, and we're going to do push-ups from this position. So elbows travel tight, nice and tight to your body. Triceps and lats, you want them to brush or touch slightly. Inhale into it, exhale up and out of it. We can always go to a kneeling base on these. Keep your hamstrings and glutes engaged. Inhale in, exhale out. Make sure your low back doesn't sag or cave on those. After that, we're going to get a lighter kettlebell that we can handle. We're going to step into a forward lunge. So if the kettlebell's on your right side, you're going to step forward lunge with your opposite leg. So we'll get into our low lunge position here. We're going to clean and rack the kettlebell. We're going to press it out. If your stability and balance allows, you can stand up with it locked out. It comes back to shoulder, back to hip. We step into this lunge position, clean it, rack it, press it out. If you're balance challenged, just bring it to rack position. You can set it back down. But we want to hit a lunge and a clean and press. So we're going to do that on each side. So step into your lunge, clean it, rack it, wrist nice and straight, press it out from that low lunge position. Stand up if you can. If not, you know what you got to work on. And then we're going to go to a kickstand position or a staggered stance. Your quads are in alignment, but with a kickstand stance, your back heel is elevated. So we're going to make sure our hips are back, spine's nice and straight, not vertical, but nice and straight. We're going to row the kettlebell on the kickstand side. So This could be a little bit heavier bell. You'll ultimately know what allows you to hold position and what allows you to row this kettlebell to where your fingertips come to your ribs. So kickstand rows each side. From there, we're gonna hit the floor for the rest of the routine. So starting with an Oraise, we can do these body weight, or we can use a kettlebell. We always wanna bring our knees in and together so the low back and the tailbone stay seated. And then you wanna fold at your low chest line. Exhale, maximize tension through the whole torso with that. Inhale, we can rest everything. You can keep it elevated, but exhale, inhale. If you're gonna use a bell, you just put it in your hands. Same timing, knees come in, and then the kettlebell pushes forward with a good exhale. Side V-ups will be the next exercise. So you can find a really great low back stretch in these. You want to position the whole, I'm on my right hip, whole right tricep, lat, palm on the right side, right hip is down. Left hand goes all the way overhead. So what we're trying to do here is get your left shoulder blade to the ground in between each one. So let that palm open up so you have basically your shoulders are rotating and twisting. You're finding a nice deep low back stretch here. We want to inhale and then get up as high as you can. So your only points of contact would be the hip that's on the ground and the palm and elbow. So legs go to the ground, let your shoulder blade fall to the ground if you can. Your feet come forward a little bit, and this will help anchor everything down. Find a good inhale, open up that palm, make sure it's in line with your shoulder, and exhale up. You should feel them on the top side. So not only a back stretch, it's a little oblique and abdominal exercise. So we'll hit side V-ups on both sides. From there, we'll go to a face down position. We'll do a Superlift. It's a good therapy exercise, just something that's good to do frequently to get you out of that chair position and pull you back into posture. So we're just going to lift up, kind of super position. You want to use your glutes. You want to use your hamstrings to lift the legs. And we want to use our shoulders. Just make sure you don't excessively arch to where it doesn't feel comfortable on your low back. All we're doing is trying to engage the big muscles that pull us back into posture. So 3 to 5 second holds and then come back down. Depending on how long you're going for these, if you're going for time, I'd do any of these for 30 to 40 seconds. If you're going for reps, 10 reps is usually a good amount to do for any exercise. So after our super lifts, we're going to crawl forward for a 4 count and then backward for a 4 count. And when we're doing this, we want to stay equal in our timing and equal in our position as well. So we always want to keep shins vertical to the ground, torso vertical to the ground, and we want our opposite limbs to move in unison. So if it's right hand, it's left leg, okay? And you want the distance traveled to match up as well. So if you're only moving the hand a couple inches, you want that leg to follow the same amount of time. So also when they're airborne, you want that time to match as well. So knees can tap, can be nice and light. Make sure you're breathing diaphragmatically in through the nose, out through the lips. 4 count forward, 4 count backward, and have everything match up. And then it's nice and convenient to finish up with bear squats. They're a great knee-hab, prehab exercise, great hamstring opener. If you once you get that mobility and flexibility, it's a great cardio exercise as well. So hands up, line up right under your shoulders. Knees are as wide as your hips. And we're just going to push our hips back, get our heels down, pick the toes up if you can with a good exhale. Inhale, tap the knees, exhale up. And it's good to always bring your hands a little bit closer to your knees or vice versa, because you will kind of spread out a little bit on these. But move the best you can and have at it. Let me know any questions. Good luck.